Hi everybody, that's me, Pixtur. It has been a while since I last recorded or streamed something, and I think now is a good opportunity because in a couple of days there will be the deadline party in Berlin. It's a demo scene event, small one but very nice, and I thought very spontaneously to make a demo for that. And I think what you should be hearing in the background is the soundtrack. Ronnie was so kind to make up on the fly. So like this thing is, I don't know, maybe like a couple of days old. I think it's currently version 2, so maybe there will be version 3 while we are working on this thing here. But it's just like didn't give him any prompts, just like make something between like 2 and 4 minutes long, and this is what he came up with. And I guess if you are really hardcore and you are following along, then you might hear this track quite a lot. So it's just me and the cat. So once in a while, if you hear something meowing, then it's Amy asking for attention. But let's see how far and how fast we can progress on this. So I will be using a development version of Tooll version 3.7.1. Probably mostly in developer mode. And yeah, let's see where this is going. And I will try to basically document everything. So I don't know, like skip advance, skip advance, skip forward, the uninteresting part, or fast forward, whatever. So like yeah, just to show you, like I'm using fork for my version handling here. Currently I'm on a branch. I think I want to merge the stuff I did on a new particle system into the development branch and probably work in the development branch. How do I do this? Maybe not, but I want to have this particle features. So let's branch off from here once we have a bunch of stuff that we can actually commit. So, and then we can see where this goes. Okay, so let's start it up. I have rider here. Let's choose T3. Most of the time I will be working in development mode. So here, like we have the configuration, development or release. And I'm using development and debug, because then I have hot code reloading, and this is super awesome to clean stuff on the fly. So let's minimize this, put it up there, and eventually, yes, you will hear this song a lot. So let's keep it in the loop. So let's start this up here. So you might have seen this image here in the background. So I guess any moment now there should be like the startup pop-up, but so far we can look at these things here. Oh, the build was successful. This is so kind of you. Okay, here's the startup screen. And so, so this stuff is basically just me fooling around with Midjourney. And I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Midjourney and artificial intelligence, cluster fucking, and yes, I know all the bad things there are about this. And yes, I think there are also like a couple of my images in this training sets. And yes, I actually even funded and like donated to the lawsuit against OpenAI and Stable Diffusion. Yeah, so, but it's still a great tool for brainstorming. So I typed in like, give me something dirty particle-like with stuff. And this is what it came up with. And I think like some of the things are really interesting because I think stuff like this you could actually do with Tooll. Stuff like this will be difficult because we still don't have no shadows, but we might fake something. Yeah, and I really liked some of like these ideas, and I wanted to see where this like, yeah, I have to say, damn you, stupid artificial intelligence. It looks quite nice. So anyways, this thing here. So eventually, so if we could end up with something like this would be awesome. So like the only thing that I'm not sure about is the color, so maybe it's only black and white. But the soundtrack that Ronnie made was called, what is this, Katsumaki? And I really like the name, Katsumaki, and I looked it up. And this is Katsumaki in Japanese. Maybe it's also saying, stupid tourists, go away, you don't need Japanese. But I don't know, like a Japanese site said me this is Katsumaki, and Katsumaki actually means slow and beautiful. Among other things, I think it also means probably like food roll or something, but it also means beautiful. And I thought, like, okay, well, let's go for the stupid tourist doesn't know any languages. So what I really like is also this super wide format. So I never did something like this. So let's try how this goes. And I like it to be dirty and black and white and sync to the soundtrack here. So let's see where this is going. So we started up Tooll, and let's start really from scratch by creating a new project. And I think I can pause this now. So we go to new empty project probably, and I think Katsumaki. Something like so. And we take user picks to, I think I probably put it to the projects. Namespace. Project Katsu. And yeah, we can leave it like this. We can still move it later with the, and there's this, if you ever wonder, there's a fixed file path, so you can move the resources around. And short and fast demo for deadline 2032. Not 2032. Man, if I'm still making demos in 9 years. So 2023, of course. So let's create this. There we go. Let's jump in there. The first thing, I think we want to set up the audio soundtrack. So I already downloaded it here. And so the first thing we want to do is we go to, why is there like a resources with a double S? I think this is a typo. And, we will fix this eventually. So let's go to user Pixtour, or not Pixtour, still. Actually, we should do it to still. Yeah, actually, it should be still. So let's take this guy and move everything we have in here over there. And make this, let's rename this folder and call it project. And I like to be these project folders lowercase, project Katsumaki. Let's move it over there. And in here we have a soundtrack folder that the template created for us. And we can here go to download soundtrack and move this guy over there. So let's yeah, and we can change this namespace later. It doesn't really matter. So let's add a soundtrack here. Let's go to our resources folder, user still soundtrack, and there we go. It's going to compute the soundtrack in the background. And we can see the image here, and Ronnie was so kind to tell me that it's 140 BPM. And I think he used Bitwig to create a soundtrack. So now we see the soundtrack, and we see that we have roughly, it's 3 minutes. this is a perfect length for soundtrack. I think this is actually doable. So let's switch back to bars, and we can see that with 140 BPM, this seems to match up really nice. I'm not sure about, like, this guy looks a little bit early to me, to be frank. Maybe it's an upbeat. Let's go to the end of the soundtrack and see if it's... This looks a little bit early. But then again, so like, I think this is the off-bar beat, and then the actual instrument starts here. I think this is as good as it gets from syncing. Yeah, like, look at this. This is like spot on. Okay, so then so now the question: what do we actually wanna do? I think I would love to experiment with, like, patterns of particles that are synced to these wave shapes, like this, in the background. This is like, I think Ronnie is probably using like either Bitwig or his analog synthesizer for that. Or maybe he sampled something with modular. I don't know. But I really like this. You can actually see, like, and is it on beat or is it something random? I think it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe it's like evenly subdivided. Yeah, it looks like evenly subdivided. Oh no, wait a second. This is like this. Yeah, this is probably 32. Okay. And I think we can start by doing a small, like, look test. So what we, for instance, can do without going into the actual new particle system, I think we could try to create, let's say, I'm always thinking of almost like a, let's make some sketches here. So I'm thinking about, like, so like there's some kind of structure of a floor, and then basically like a wall that, you know, like a skyscraper, it goes up like real high. And so this thing is made of points. And then lots of points. And it could be data like in a matrix, or it could be like a building, but we don't really know, and we will maybe learn it, maybe not during the evolution of the demo. And so, like, the, you know, maybe the camera is up down there. Yeah, like the camera is looking up there. And we see basically like the base shaking the foundation of this wall, and we don't really know what's going on, but maybe the camera is like slowly moving along here, you know, like looking up, bringing up how nice it would be to be up there, whatever is up there. So let's try to build something like this. So we have a grid points here. Let's draw these points, and let's start with a simple camera. We can adjust this later. And I think it's always a good idea, like, even if you do something like really, really simple, we should try to move the pivot so that things look nicely. And for instance, the only thing I can remember, like now switching between Unity, Unreal, and Tooll, and like all these other tools, Blender, like the only thing I know that is right is X. So like X and then X is red. So red should always point to the right side. And this is how you set up your scenes. So, you know, the default cameras and stuff will be aligned properly. So we can take this guy, we can pin it here, we take the points, and then I think this should have something like a pivot here. And I guess we can move this pivot up, maybe like so. And yes, looking. In the case we want to have tons of points, so that is like actually almost like a surface here. And let's add some fog. And let's move the camera in here. The camera is like super fast. Let's make it slower. Well, actually, that's I think it's maybe like this unit grid having it to be in meters sounds like a better idea. So let's take this guy and make it, switch it from grid bounds. So grid bounds would mean that we are scaling one, that from here to there, the outer size of the grid is 1 unit because it's scale 1. And I think we can switch this to cell. And this means like now the spacing is from there to there is 1 unit. And then we can dial it in to say, okay, maybe the structure is made of patches of, let's say, every 10 centimeters or something, which means the scale should be divided by, so like so. And I guess we can render this into a target. Probably we can pin this here. Oh no, actually, don't pin it there. We can do this later. Let's start simple by pinning it. By pinning it here, P, and then the fog. So if things would work, this means after 10 meters, it should fade out. So like if you think about this being a skyscraper, so you know, like 6 meters is nothing. So it should be, I don't know, like let's make it like 50 meter high should be it's a decent skyscraper, which means that we need way more points. So let's look at up there. Okay, it's already looks high, but it's not high enough because it's not fading out. So this is not 50 meters. So let's add more points. Wait a second. Not in this dimension, in this dimension. So maybe we can pin to the right camera here. So, okay. Well, yeah, slowly fading out. And maybe we add some point to the other direction. So how many points are these? This is 200 by 300. Oh, it's a couple of thousand. Should be still fine. And then we can start to make this point dance. So the randomized point has now like a random phase that goes into it. Normally we have a seed here. So if we, let's say we move this here, we would move the seed, then it would be like steps because the seed is integer. But now the randomized points also has a random phase, which would go into it's like a static movement. And actually, I think this already looks interesting. So let's say we start with we take the random phase and we say if this is time 1, like this is says 1 there. So let's say that this is 64 for some reason. I don't know. Wait a sec. That looks like 4. So let's make it 16. And let's animate that by pressing an Alt. And insert a new keyframe there. And then there's this trick of after After the curve, cycle with offset. So this will basically non-stop move up and down. So, and so this is going on, off, on, off, on, off. So I think we should automate this with some kind of, what is this? I guess it's an anim value of type square. And then we put this into the amount here. So it's going on, off, on, off. So let's see how this goes. So like if we move this, let's turn off all the animation here. So this is on. Okay, obviously this needs to be slower. On, off. And then this should be offset a little bit. I think they, let's see if we can, I think this offsets the value, but maybe we can offset the face here. So it's on. No, actually this is, wait a second, we shouldn't, like looking at the audio soundtrack, I see it starts with on. And so we don't actually need this face. So it should be, no, wait a second, we need this face. It offsets a little bit, but the offset doesn't make at all what I thought it would do. So if we are here, what? I'm going here. I'm going here. What does it do? Why is it? Okay, I don't know like how this offset thing works, but it looks like now it's on, off, on, off. So like. Okay, it's like interesting. So let's add a little bit of moving camera here. So maybe we yeah, let's just go to the camera, and there's this rotation offset here. We click once, and I think maybe it suggests that it already suggests Perlin noise. And to be honest, let's enable animation again to see how this will look. I think it's actually not too shabby. It could be. I mean, they did so if you ask people about so like how handheld camera should be, they have like really intense opinion upon like how this is supposed to feel, and probably they would say no, wait a second, the rotation about the y-axis or the x-axis should be bigger, because you know there are it's more likely that you're shaking up and down than left and right or something like this. And I think there's also like a very interesting video of Ian Holmes with like, and why does nothing? But yeah, I think this will be fine. So I think we can live with this. Or maybe it's a little bit too enigmatic here. Let's say we have 4 actors now. Let's maybe squeeze this down a little bit and say we have a little bit less. Actually, now that I see that, it's actually a shame that you can't see the preview in this window there. I wonder why this is. So like there. But yeah, I promised myself no tool debugging. We only want to work on the video here, on the demo. So this is still, how far would this be? It's only 15 meters. That's a big wall. Okay, so let's maybe have these a little bit darker. Increase their size. And maybe eventually it's a little bit. I mean, somehow I like that when the amount is very low, that you can't really know where up is, because it could be there, like the 45-degree angle or there, which somehow I think it's interesting. So I think I want to keep that. And I wonder if we should also increase like these other noise things here. If you also see currently only the amount is being because this other one we animated via keyframes. I think now that I'm thinking about this, using keyframes for this was a stupid idea. So let's remove this and let's just take onion value with endless and feed this into the face. Because if we do that, then we actually see some action happen in idle mode, and I really like that. So obviously this is, yeah, it's because it's a little bit easier to tweak what these things are going to look like. Maybe like so. I think there's also, since we are going to deal with this noise thing a lot, there's a gain operator here, and it does interesting things. So maybe to explain once in a while I will go on a tangent and explain a little bit about Tooll if I think it's useful. But let's say we have a bunch of line points and we draw these points, so like a bunch of points here. And then if we do this randomization thing, and let's say we randomize not the set, but the Y. Maybe we increase this a little bit more, so we have more points. Then the gain thing, so like this is it should be a more or less uniform distribution. So yes, we have this peculiar gap here and there, but I think it should be more or less uniform. But let's say it tries to be uniform. Let's put it like so. Let's try different seed values. Yeah, I mean there's a little bit of concentration in the center, but I think it's okay for this kind of distribution. Anyways, if we increase the gain, we see that how this is spread out, because it will decide, most of the time it will be either an extreme random offset towards the top or to the bottom. And if we spread this all the way to 0, it will be almost either like the top or the bottom. So without offset would be there, but now it's trying to spread these towards there or there, and if we move them, they are moving very fast in the middle. And I think if you would use seed, they would jump frequently between the one or the other. And obviously you can also use the other concentration here. And most of the time, I think a concentration like this is more likely. Like most points will fluctuate a little bit. Some points will stray further out. So I don't know if this is a Gaussian distribution. Probably not, but it could almost be like a Gaussian. Actually, no, did I think about it? So let's try something out. So let's render this into a render target. Zip. And let's add some. Let's let's add some directional blur. Let's make it very wide and a lot of samples. And let's increase the number of points here. I'm actually kind of and maybe make the points smaller. So smaller points. And now we can do image levels. Yeah, this is a Gaussian there. No kidding, it's Gaussian because of course directional blurs use Gaussian distribution, but if we turn this by 90 degrees, I'm kind of curious what this now becomes. Could be Gaussian. Yeah, with the default. Huh. This is so weird. So obviously my assumption was wrong that it's a uniform distribution. Obviously this is also some kind of like, I think it's a half circle because this animation of the dots, and it's so strange that this has a linear distribution. Like look at this. Like this is so strange. Yeah. But this is almost like Gaussian. I think it's sometimes it's very interesting to see how these random things are implemented. Sorry. This has nothing to do with the demo. Back on track. I said back on track. Ah yeah, and talking back on track. Let's make this our default output. So if you select the background, then this is what we see. So we have a render target here. Let's add probably some depth of field. And we need to connect the depth buffer here, and the focus distance is 5 meters away. Yeah, maybe, could be. Yeah, I could imagine something like this. And we can already see that. So let's fit the perspective here again. So it doesn't look like a wall at all. I don't know why this is. Maybe it's the camera position. So if we would move this, I think it's mostly the camera perspective. And we should also think about that later we want to have like this extreme resolution. So maybe I like this extreme lens, like white thing here. So let's create a new aspect ratio, and let's take the design which we had. So what is this? This is if we round this up to, this is 10 by we can just take this. So obviously it's 997 by 273. 997 by 27, or I think 272 it was. And this is aspect ratio, and this is the Katsumaki aspect ratio. And let's use it. Oh, this will be so difficult designing for that. I'm so curious how this goes. So there's also a bias for the fog, and I think we should really employ this, so it gives a little bit more depth in the background. What we also see is that even though like the camera now, so we should get rid of this in the long term. But somehow we don't really get a width, and I think this is because some dust particles would help here. So yes, we leave the fog where it is, and then we split this here, take a group, and take a bunch of grid points. And normally I would use dust particles, but now I got into the habit of just using grid points with randomized points. Random points. And don't ask me why, but I think for some reason I started using this one. So let's move this somewhere here where we can actually, where it's around the camera. And let's once again don't use bounds but cell spacing. And now if we increase the position randomness here quite drastically. Did it flicker? No? Or maybe it flickered because I was hovering over this guy. And then if we animate this, we should have a little bit of brownie motion. So let's put this into time. Make it slow. Increase the gain. I think now that oh damn it, I should have left this other thing. Because actually I think let's do something. Oh, so if I would be very brave, I would set the default of this, which would change all, like randomized points is being used a lot. So if you go to render sequence, wait a second, no, window. Go to the symbol library, we scan all of the operators we have, and then we go to the, what is this actually? This is a point, and this is a modifier. And somewhere here there should be randomized points. So where's randomized points? Noise. Oh, there's a noise category. So let's go to noise, randomized points. And then we see that it's used by 31 other projects. So quite a lot of projects, and like all these projects would change if they, because the gain, the default gain is 0.5. But I have to really think about the way how to do this without like hurting other people. Okay, so this looks nice. Let's tune this a lot down. Let's increase the brightness of these guys. And maybe make this even slower. So maybe like another half. And maybe decrease the size quite drastically. Maybe also maybe we can scale this down a little bit so we get more points. So now once again thinking about units. So we now have, so we have a unit here. So this block, this is basically half a meter squared. And it's not around the camera, so we could actually move it around the camera, but this would somehow, I think this would look unnaturally. And what we can see is that it's not really conveying a lot of movement from this from the camera shake. I think it's maybe this might be because it's still way too fast. So if we slow this down a lot, so and I think it's still way too dominant. So let's make these smaller, and maybe also like less transparent. I think like so. I think so it makes it a little bit better. So now let's see how this sounds with the music. We can close the library and then obviously we see that also in the music that here the volume increases, so we can maybe actually we can really see like how this increases quite a lot. So let's make a value and animate this value for the noise intensity. So let's call this value, make it noise intensity. Let's animate this. Let's say it starts here with, I don't know, a quarter, something like this. I don't need this keyframe. And here it doubles. We don't want to have linear interpolation, so we right click and use constant. So there's also like this guy here, now that I think about this view, there's this so interaction overlay that I wrote this recently, so you can see which mouse I'm pressing. I wonder if this would help you or not. I will leave it on, and then you can still decide whether this is too distracting or not. But you can decide if it's too distracting, and you will not be able to do anything about it, but you can write a mean comment and say this is horrible. So okay, anyways, we take this, we enable this auto keyframe pinning here, and then we double this again, make it like 1, and then we go in here and we say that this is like crazy 10. And then we take this and pipe it into the amount. No, not this amount. This is the dust particles. This actually, no, wait a second. This is this goes into the amount, and this is the amplitude. Okay, this is not what I expected, but it looks interesting. Let's create annotations here. Like this is dust particles. Not that I'm clicking here again and modifying this on the fly. So let's see how this looks like. Oh, actually, I think let's go full screen on this. So, and I think we need a keyframe anyway. We see that we made a problem there, and we can also see how I think this is still way too intense. So we can actually click on the keyframe and change it in place, which sometimes is useful. And also, like we see on the keyframe shape that this was constant. I have to say, this thing is just my cup of tea. Like this is really very, very strange. You see my childish joy in looking at something like this. Actually, I think this is great. This is a great beginning. I'm so easy to surprise. So I think what I'm missing a little bit is this. There's a and I think there needs to be something in here. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what this could be. So we can explore a little bit. So currently the size is, let's make it an even number. So the point size is half. And we could say, okay, maybe we take the, I never used the square thing here before, but maybe we have something where nothing is nice, everything is square curves. So maybe this is the concept of the demo, that there is no interpolation, there's only brutal on-off square waves. So let's put this in here and say, this is the size of the curve. So like this, okay, obviously this is not what we want, but if we move this a little bit off and this a little bit, no, this is moving, let's make this. Does this match? I think it's too fast. Still too fast. Still too fast. This is not too shabby. So let's find a way where it's not too much in your face. I think this on-off somehow doesn't cut it. I think it should be better if this would be, if we see the rhythm, but it's not like on, off, on, off, on, off. So I think we can change this to, let's keep it. And maybe, so sometimes if you want to rewire this connection there, it's not possible right now. So obviously you can have like a second output, but you can't have you can't rewire like this guy. And I think I should do something about this. But there's a shortcut, so we can just split this with value, and then we move this guy in there. So, and let's move this to, let's make it a random. And then we get basically random, and I think it needs to be twice the speed. Just remembered. Ha! Ha! I just noticed that I don't have the aspect ratio here for the... Oh no, we have Katsumaki. There we go. Okay, nice. I just thought that we couldn't do this kind of thing, but... Okay, so I'm thinking about the length of the demo. I'm surprised how nice this is actually. How nice this went to fill the first. I don't know, what is it, like 30 seconds or something? Yeah. So actually, this is quite a surprise. So because I was a little bit afraid about the length of the demo. I mean, yes, it's not Instagrammable, but I don't care about Instagram. So I think what we want is like a small camera transition that moves the camera slightly towards, maybe slightly towards the left. So if it's moving from this and then panning there, I'm thinking too much, but I think if you move toward this side, it will look more disturbing. So let's add a bunch of keyframes here. Zip, zip, zip. This is the camera selected. We can't. Why can't we? Because it's not selected. So now we can change the camera. Let's move along the wall. What? I think we don't want to see that edge. Like the edge up there. So this looks like a bug. So this is a nice perspective, I think. But wait a second, if we would, so maybe we need more width there. So let's go to the, yeah, we need more points. It hurts because this is expensive. Yeah, I think and let's make it a straight number. I'm a strong believer in this even or in this straight numbers, because it will tell me later I thought about this. So it's not a random number, but it's actually I spent a minute or so thinking about it. Okay, and then we want to move the camera. Let's select the camera again. Let's go to the far left and click once. And we want to move the camera slowly towards the left because it's disturbing. And actually, what we also want to do is we want to look up while doing so. So we don't want to start with, we want to start with a small perspective and then it's like, ooh, so many points, look at this. So I think if we use the left mouse button, it doesn't work. Why not? Maybe I guess doing this is okay. I don't want to have like a too straight line here. I think this would look kind of silly. And it's actually not too shabby. It's kind of, I'm almost like thinking about that edge here. So I think if it's like so, it looks like, oh, he ran out of points. Of course, we never run out of points, but this looks a little bit like, okay, too much points there. But I think if the camera would hold there precisely, it would be more like, there is an intentional thing here. Wait a second, I'm zooming in, adding more keyframes to my camera. I don't want to do this. So let's stop camera movement here. Camera, come back. No, no keyframes for you. And this means that, so to start with, we should probably snap this to an even position there. And then we can go into the camera mode again, and I think we should drag it all the way up here so that it's almost like we are going to fall off this edge. And maybe this could be, we have some people getting curious. Oh, what's behind here? Is it a corner? Does it go down there? So, and this is maybe like also like an interesting way to add some kind of title thing here. So going back to here, so it's we can't really run Unicode. Unicode is a pain in the butt, but we can take this guy here, we duplicate it, we make it into something, a frame, and then we remove the, what's up with radar here? We don't need that, and we want an aspect ratio. This is even, so let's make this, let's take this guy here. Is it in there already? No, it's not. Why is it not in there? No, it's in there. Let's stretch this up. And maybe we can, let's stretch this, like make it, looks like Figma also has a lot of fun with the Unicode characters here. So let's center this. Okay, and then, so one thing I learned, if you export something in a PNG, don't export it in black, because you can always make it black, but you can't make it white. So at least not with multiplication. So let's take this guy, go back to this mode, and turn this into white. And we can call this Marquee logo. And we of course export it in a higher resolution than this 512. So let's make it 124. Or make it 2x. Always confused about like the, I think 2x is the correct thing. Export the logo, go to desktop. Go to desktop. Marquee logo, images, Marquee logo. Let's go back to Tool. Let's load an image. Let's go to the, I think like a nice UI improvement would actually be, I thought about this a lot. So since we have a file watcher on this folder, on the resource folder, it could have suggested me that thing, because what else would they want to do if I copy it in there? Of course I want to load it. So I think like this, the usability could be improved there. So we go to still, we go to Katsumaki images, we take the logo, and we place this into layer, and then we don't want to put it into the group, because if it would be here, so I think it's somewhere here. There it is. So it, it would be like, we would get like the depth of field and so on, and this perspective. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised how interesting it looks with this perspective thing. I'm actually. I'm really, so like this is a nice serendipity, so maybe do something with this thing here. Actually, I'm leaving this there because I think it looks interesting. So, but we still want to have like a proper logo there. So we take the final output of this guy, right? Not the final output of this guy, and we compose this into layer. We compose this into group, and we take this guy, and this is now our new render target. Bang. And now we should have proper logo, and yeah, we just made it black. You know, remember, you can always make it black, but you can't make black white. So this is what we now did. So I think we can also enable the gizmo mode, and we can move it around here somewhere and find a size that looks. Yeah, I think let's leave some padding here. I think it's so I'm always struggling with like this proper sizes of things. So earlier, so when I started making demos, it would have been like this size, but this doesn't really look elegant. And so this looks interesting, but it's no longer a title. So I think like this is kind of I kind of like. No, this is the silly things designers think about. So and I recently got into an argument about something that really drives people insane. But I think it's so funny. It's so funny. So we changed this to TN, and then we changed the name of this to not the name, but the font, and then make it teeny weeny. Teeny weeny. And places here. I think TN. Yes, no trademark. It's not ton. And I guess we. I'm not really sure that the extreme thing starts when we enter the but maybe let's see how it looks, and maybe we can also set a bunch of keyframes here for. So a nice thing that is like it's not really obvious with Tooll, but so normally you would need to set keyframes for like each of these elements, which sometimes is a little bit annoying because, if I'm moving the opacity, so if I'm dragging left, like look at this interaction overlay thing. If I'm dragging with left or with right, look at this mouse overlay there. So like dragging with right is the brightness, dragging with left is the opacity. But if I'm dragging here with left, then we see that the TN is still there. So I would need to do the same thing for this. So it's much easier to actually change the opacity of the group, so it will affect both of them, which is kind of useful. So and maybe we just add a keyframe there. So we take this guy, and we say it's maybe until here. Add another keyframe by hitting Alt, and I think we can have the initial thing, and this one will be white. We can't have, so let's just take it down, and maybe filling it out softly is okay, I guess. Okay, so obviously we should fade it out. And I think I changed my mind how long we need this. Because I initially wanted to have a very short, but now I think it's good to have it. I think it's better to have it back there. So like so. And it's a little bit silly that you can't see that I'm holding the Alt key to do this. So I really have to revise my interaction overlay so to make sure that it stays within the visible area. But so much to do. And I think this guy should be, yeah, as I said, it should be hard, nose moving, constant. So, why this didn't work out nicely? Why is it not constant? I think it's not constant because the gradient doesn't show it as constant. Constant. Okay. So and maybe we have this. Maybe play with the concept here and say, okay, it's so we say, yes, it could fade in slowly, but no, we are hiding it out immediately. So I think it is a nice touch. Okay, now that I think about it, I wonder really what the screen recording in YouTube is going to do with those particles. Probably it's going to look like crazy pixel mess. But yeah, whatever. So let's clean this up here. We have the image output. Let's update the guy here. You go there. You are the new output. And oh no, cleaning up moved my particles, my dust particles. Oh no. Okay, dust particles, you go. And this we don't need anymore. This was some early experiment. So, and I noticed that I think this is too hectic. I think the frequency is too high. And what I also like is that I think like this is too much in your face, but I like the subtlety of these things that they are vanishing in the logo. And this could almost be like the credits or something like this. So like, oh, so this could be Ronnie. Oh, let's make it Ronnie. So let's disable this guy here and let's replace it with a text. And the text says Ronnie or AP. How is you? AP. Ronnie. Ronnie is just fine. And do we want to group this? Yeah, let's group this. I think grouping is always better because then we only have one transform for multiple things. Only wait a second if there's like, oh, yeah, doesn't matter. And so this will be Ronnie, and Ronnie will be far big. Look at this, how big this is. This is very big. And I guess we want to move it up there. And it's, do we have a font that's even blacker? I think it's already black. What's this Passion 1 font? I think this is... It looks nice, but it looks too nice. I want something more robotic. It's like this guy here. Yeah, maybe it does the job. So let's move this together. Maybe so you can't read it anymore. Actually, this looks kind of interesting, but this you can't read anymore. So let's and I have no clue about typography. Let's make these guys. Wait a second, why is this like this is wrong? Look at this kerning, this is horrible. So like this, if this space is smaller than this space, why is, oh no, actually, I think it works kind of nicely. So, okay, maybe I was wrong. So like, let's make it like so that we have an even spacing between light and dark areas. And let's make it big. So almost like the zebra stripes on this one intersection in Tokyo. So, and then of course, obviously we don't want this because this is too easy to read. But if we take if we only show it when it's noisy, and if you make it black, I think it can look interesting. So how do we do this? We take a switch and we animate a switch. Switch is always nice. Switch. So and the thing about like I recently had a discussion, I think with Leon or so. Why is the switch not called pick? Because we have like, let's say if you have a bunch of strings, and then you connect them, and then this guy is called pick, and you have a bunch of point buffers, and this guy is called pick. So now they think, well, why is this actually called pick point list and not pick point buffer? This is okay, probably bad, but anyways, normally we use pick. So why is this called switch? It's called switch because it can go below 0 and then we'll turn it off. So it can, it can go into up and then we'll switch and then we'll do the same as pick, but you can also below 0, then it will take none. It will disable whatever is coming in, and it can even go below -2, and it will take everything. And I think look at this, I even wrote documentation for this. I'm so proud of myself. Zack. Okay, let's call this Ronnie so we don't forget. And let's take this guy, make it Pixie. And then we animate this guy. We start with -1. It's off. Let's hold. Obviously, holding it will insert keyframes if you ever think about this. And since it's an integer, it will be constant by default interpolation type. And then we switch it to 1. To Ronnie comes first. And then we go in here, and then we, I think we should be able to edit it directly in here. No? Boo. So it works with floats, but it doesn't work with ints. Stupid. Just stupid. I would give 0 stars if I could. So let's duplicate this. Okay, let's take these guys and go in here and duplicate this again. Duplicate keyframes. And then here we go in, actually, like, you see like the dot and commas. Let's go in here and then we override this keyframe to 1. And my name is so huge, you can't even read it. Oh, look at how subtle this is. I really like this. So thanks God that we used the group so we can actually move all of them at once. Okay, I think it's probably too small. I'm convinced this is too small. So there's a new thing called breakout. So I think if you hold, control, control will break out the thing, and it will give it a name, and it will enter the value in there. Look at this. So this is the size, and then we can use the size here, and then we can change the size for both of them. So I think this is too small, but maybe maybe if you move it like so, at least you can read it. Probably you need like a speaker like Ronnie Vector. It's super disturbing that it's going to the left, towards the left. This must go away. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for the first part. It's good. It's a good cut. So what's on the to-do list for the next thing? So so obviously, like this thing, this has to go away. So this should be super easy to what's actually having, like what's even going, like why. Oh, I don't want to think about like this. But anyways, like this should be easy to fix. And something else I noticed that we have some I think we see this also in the frequency spectrum there. There are like some disturbances starting around here. And especially these guys. I wonder if this is actually... Maybe this isn't good at something. Huh. No, you know, sometimes Ronnie does really weird things with soundtracks. So maybe this is it. It could be... Could be a bunch of characters actually. Huh, interesting. So yeah, but I think I will try to find some kind of like secondary noise or something that is synced to this kind of thing, because that will, yeah, I think will really help. And then I think we should think about like there should be, I think, like an initial phase, like going through these 6 on off that should give different variations of like the simple noise, like maybe like a cylinder made of points being like warped or stuff like that. And here, I think we should go into full geometry. So I'm not sure. Like I think like this is like impossible to create, but it's it would be great. So let's see how we get. Okay, see you in the next part.